It's a very warm welcome to all our viewers and welcome to a new edition of Arab Affairs, our show bringing you all the latest news and events happening in the Arab region. I'm Angie Meher joining you for today's edition of the show. Of course, we begin straight away with a look at news from home, where upon the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the task force headed by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli holds its first meeting to probe the death of Egyptian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. Prime Minister Madbouli said the task force is composed of officials from ministries and concerned authorities. It is to provide support and assistance to the families of the deceased. He has also instructed the investigation of private companies which organized unauthorized and illegal Hajj flights to Saudi Arabia. Madbouli said Foreign Ministry's missions were visiting Saudi hospitals to collect data over the injured Egyptian citizens that were being hospitalized. Ministry of Health and Population said it had provided medical examinations and offered treatment to some 18,700 pilgrims through the 24 clinics affiliated to the Egyptian Hajj mission in the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. The overall death toll from this year's Hajj has exceeded 1,000 people, including 658 Egyptians. Still with our news, Egypt has welcomed Armenia's announcement of its recognition of the state of Palestine as a step in support of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to end the Israeli occupation and establish an independent state on the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. In a statement of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Egypt praised Armenia's support for the Palestinian cause. It added Egypt has also called on influential international parties to carry out their moral and historical responsibilities towards the Palestinian people, to intervene to preserve their rights at this time as they are facing tough humanitarian conditions. Armenia announced Friday its recognition of the state of Palestine, latest country to do so during the war in Gaza, saying that it was against all violence towards civilian populations. A series of countries have also recognized the state of Palestine amid the war in Gaza, meanwhile drawing strong rebukes from Israeli officials. The health ministry in Hamas-run Gaza said Saturday that at least 37,551 people have been killed in the territory during more than 8 months of war in Gaza. The toll includes at least 120 deaths over the last 48 hours, adding that 85,911 people have been wounded in the Gaza Strip since October the 7th. We have the details. A Palestinian was killed and others wounded in a drone attack by Israeli occupation forces against a crowd of Palestinians north of Rafah, southern Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, occupation forces launched a series of raids and destroyed a lot of residential buildings. Occupation forces continue their aggression on the Strip since the 7th of October, which led to the death of more than 37,551 and the injury of 85,911 others, whilst thousands are still under the rubble. Earlier, residents and Israel's military said Israeli forces pounded Rafah in southern Gaza Friday, as well as other areas across the enclave, killing at least 45 Palestinians as troops engaged in close-quarter combat with Hamas. Tanks were forcing their way into the western and northern parts of the city, having already captured the east, south and center. The Israeli occupation said it was looking into the reported strikes in a separate incident in Gaza City. It said its forces were conducting precise intelligence-based actions in the Rafah area, where troops were involved in close-quarter combat, claiming they'd located tunnels used by Hamas. Military also said that over the past weeks, its forces targeted a university that it said served as a Hamas headquarters, from which fighters had fired on its soldiers and had found weapons and barrel bombs. In the central area of Nusayrat, the military said soldiers had killed dozens of fighters over the past week, claiming they found a weapons depot containing mortar bombs and military equipment belonging to Hamas.